Next on the list is pricing, and I bet you've been thinking, how on earth do you decide what you're going to be charging for the work you're going to be doing for potential clients? And to be honest, there isn't an easy answer when it comes to this, but I will explain my thinking, and hopefully that will give you the right sort of tools to work out what it is that you feel you can charge for clients at this early stage of your business. Now, there are 3 different pricing models that largely exist in the world of digital marketing. First of all, there is pricing per hour. So literally, I will do 6 hours of work for you each month in return for £45 an hour. Secondly, you can just charge a set price per month, which isn't connected to a number of hours you do. So depending on who the client is, you can actually make a very healthy profit or make quite a big loss, depending on how much work they put your way. Obviously, you still need to do some work, but ultimately the number of hours that you do in return for that money can vary quite considerably each month. Or third and finally, and more rarely, if I'm honest, you can also charge on a commission basis. So this works particularly well for areas like PPC, where you can actually demonstrate that your work has generated in sales. With other areas, say like social media and content marketing, it is a lot harder to demonstrate that, but it's still possible to do. Again, if you are tapped into an industry which is very uncompetitive and you're really good at what you do, you can make a lot of money that way. But to be honest, those first 2 options in there are the more common of them as to how people make their money. For me personally, I always operate on a price per hour basis, and that tends to work, to be honest, because I'm one of these people who likes to have everything written down in a spreadsheet and likes to be able to say to a client, quite politely, kind of, we've hit our time for the month, therefore, we'll roll this activity over to the next month, because otherwise, if suddenly you take on a few extra hours with a given client, it can really stress you out with the amount of work that you need to do. The next question though is actually, what number do you put to that pricing model? Now, working out what the actual price is that you should be charging per hour is really hard. The reason being is that can vary hugely based on the type of service you're offering, the geographic area you're in, and ultimately the level of expertise and experience which you have in that given area. So for me personally, I've been working in digital marketing now for 9 years, and therefore I can command a higher rate in terms of just demonstrating my experience than someone who is naturally starting. I'm also obviously based in the UK, which generally as a digital marketing market is a particularly strong one, whereas I know in other countries it can both be a lot more competitive or there is a lot less work going. And also on the services that I offer, so for SEO, for example, because that is the mainstay of a lot of the work I do, that generally commands a higher price simply for the fact that it is a lot more of a technical activity which fewer people have skills in, versus, if I'm honest, something like copywriting or something like social media, which is perceived, it shouldn't be, it is perceived to be something which people will pay less for. In terms of putting this together, I was thinking about what I first charged for a client, like my first ever freelance job. And I ended up writing a social media strategy and ended up doing, I think, 2 social media training sessions each for, 2-3 hours each. And I charged £100 for that. Now, if you divide that up by like how many hours of work I put in versus actually how much it cost, I think I was probably below minimum wage. So that is probably not a good reference point. But this is where I like to be completely honest with anyone who's watching this. I'm now earning about £55 an hour for any given client. Some of them are higher, some of them are a little bit lower, but on the whole, that's kind of where the benchmark is at the moment for me. So obviously a lot more than what I was originally earning for that £100 social media strategy. If that helps, great. But don't use that as a benchmark for, therefore my prices also have to be £55 an hour. Now, there are a few key ways as to how you can go about working out, first of all, kind of what other people in your area or industry are charging. The first of all is literally to go out and do some online research and literally just look up every other freelancer within that geographic area or within that area of expertise. And some of them will list their prices on their website. So you can already start to get a pretty good feel for what they're charging. The other way you can do it is just by asking people, and sometimes they won't say, but sometimes you will just get an honest opinion, particularly from other freelancers, so you can be a really great resource of information and advice from people that actually they charge this, so you could use that as a similar frame of reference. The other way, and this is the way which you'll get the most value out of but takes the most amount of time, is essentially to just put a price in front of a client. You obviously need to work out a rate which kind of accepts how much time you have to put into a given activity and pay your taxes and pay your bills and so on. But you'll soon very quickly find out from that client whether or not that is acceptable to them as a price. So I've had experiences where I have put a price in front of a client and they've just, yes. Oh, okay, I probably should have put in a bit more for that. Other times they will immediately turn around and go, that's not good. What's the best price you can offer? And again, with those instances, sometimes you kind of have to take it with a pinch of salt. It might just be a very lucky client or a very unfortunate client. They don't get to dictate everything that you do going forwards, but it does provide a bit of a benchmark as to how much you can or can't charge. The best way that I've found in terms of approaching this is essentially to start with a price that you feel comfortable with. And certainly if you're starting off in digital marketing, this will probably be a lower price. You're not going to be able to go in on day one and charge a premium rate for client work. But just say, for example, you're in the UK. In my personal experience, based on other digital marketers I've spoken to who are new to the game, sort of semi-experienced, you'd probably be looking at a rate of about £30 an hour. What I would advise on doing is, if you feel comfortable in doing so and the client feels like a right fit, putting it up to £35 an hour and just seeing if they take to it. If that is a success, go to £40 an hour and basically keep going until you kind of hit a ceiling, as it were. You will find that there's some people that inevitably say no, but over time you do become an expert at a field, and ultimately, although it might sound like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, you're not going to be able to work as many hours as a full-time person because you've got a business to run. And for the fact that, our goal is to make money, then that is an easy way to make money. So essentially it's a case of trial and error and going out and doing the research. But hopefully, as I say, that provides you with some kind of guidance as to what your pricing should be like. So first of all, go out and work out kind of the price you'd feel comfortable in charging someone at this stage. Go out and do the research and go from there and see how it goes.